Very good. Then, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here for the July 12th, 2023 meeting of the City of Little Rock's Parks and Recreation Commission. Appreciate everyone being here in person, and also for those of you online, thank you for being here as well. Let's go ahead and have a roll call to take attendance, please.
Commissioner Matt Bowie,
Here.
Commissioner Lauren Eldridge, Commissioner Samuel Ellis,
Here.
Commissioner James Furstel,
Here.
Commissioner Cannon Fletcher, Commissioner Ben France,
Here.
Commissioner Linda Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Mike Bernardo,
Here.
Commissioner Ron Barra,
Here.
Director Cappy Peck, Director Andrea Lewis,
Here.
City Attorney Beth Carpenter.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Hatfield. By my count, we have 7 of 9 commissioners here, so that does give us a full quorum. Let's proceed with business. The next order of business is to approve the meeting minutes. You received those prior to this meeting. Did anyone have any questions, comments, or edits about the June meeting minutes? There are no questions, comments, or edits for the meeting minutes, the June meeting minutes. Can we have entertain a motion, please, to approve the June meeting minutes?
Make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bernardo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barr. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the June meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to citizen communication. Next in our agenda, any citizen communication today? Mr. Kevin, I met you before. Please approach the podium and let's hear from you, sir. Put you on our timer. We got you about 3 minutes here, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin. I'm with Model 1 Commercial Vehicles out of Slidell, Louisiana. Our company has 22 locations nationwide, and the purpose of me attending your meeting today is to basically inquire some information about the city of Little Rock. If anyone here can answer any of the questions, that would be greatly appreciated. And also just to inform everyone, the main vehicle that we kind of provide for municipalities is the Ford E-Transit. It's a 100% electric maintenance van or passenger vehicle. And to start off with the questions, does the Park and Recreation Department or Water Department have maintenance vehicles on their procurement list for this year or next year?
Great question. So, Director Couch, are these questions that you'd like to entertain now, or do you want to maybe perhaps capture these questions and follow up with Mr. Kevin after the fact?
Absolutely. So Kevin and I spoke briefly, and I recommended that most of his fleet comments should be directed to Willie, our fleet director. And he has my email, and he can follow up with some follow-up questions so that he can have time to continue with his questions and communication.
Okay, very good. So, Mr. Kevin, if you want to maybe read your questions, that's great. Or if you would like to follow up with, as Director Couch has indicated, I think that would probably be your best. But we'd love to hear from you. We've got a couple of minutes left. If you have anything else you'd like to share with us.
Yes. Does the city have allocated funds for EV vehicles?
Yes, and generally speaking, but I don't have any details.
Okay.
Make a couple of quick comments. I'm Cappy Peck. I'm on the city board and one of the liaisons to Parks and Recreation, and I have food in my mouth right now. So just okay. We have purchased several EV vehicles recently, and we do have a goal of total amount of EV vehicles in our fleet. And I think we have a 2030 goal and a 2040 goal. And all of that information, either I or Leland would be able to get to you. But again, you would need to talk to fleet about it. But it is something we're obviously aware of, have been working on, and will be purchasing more in the future.
Good to hear. Do y'all have any charging infrastructure at this moment?
Not much.
Yeah, we have a little, but there is a goal for the city to have more. But again, that's a Willie question as well.
Yes, sir. And last, any needs for wheelchair-equipped vans for the senior recreation centers?
Going forward, there would be some additional needs as we start to build out a future senior facility. But as we previously discussed, just so the group here hears, we did just purchase a new ADA van for our therapeutic recreation division. So right now we're equipped, but unless Shawanda would like to add anything to that, who's our deputy director of recreation for those senior facilities.
That's about right, what he said. Yeah, we're looking to, update, a lot of our facilities as far as senior programs, because at the community centers, we do utilize spaces for seniors at those locations as well.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I thank you all for your time. And like I said, what we provide at our company, you can always look on our website. I'll talk to a few people after, get with the fleet manager, model1commercialvehicles.com. And we're looking to do these Ford e-Transit vehicles with municipalities, universities, and kind of starting off with that. Just as more federal grant money comes in, we just want people to know that we have inventory. We have 900 vehicles in stock. We're ready to kind of go and roll with it.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Appreciate your time. Thanks for being here and sharing some information. Yes, Director Peck.
Thank you, Chairman Bowie. I did also want to mention that another good contact besides Fleet would be our Public Works Department. The Sustainability Office resides within Public Works. I happen to be the liaison for that commission as well. And they've got a lot of data that I think you would be interested in. And it's Director John Honeywell is the Director of Public Works, and Lenny Massinelli is our Sustainability Officer. And I think that they would be interested in your information and would be helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Peck. Okay, all right. So then we're going to move on to staff reports. So Director Couch, staff reports, please.
Absolutely. I'll start off with just a quick highlight of a few big things, big subject matters that I'm excited about, and then I'll push it off to our staff for administration, recreation, and operations. So I just wanted to start by saying Interstate Park project I've spoke about many times, which is the roadway reconstruction. That's going to kick off August 1st or that first week of August. Also, just recently, as of last night, the board finalized the Bull Park Playground, which is over a $700,000 new playground by Pavilion 3. So it's a really exciting addition to Bull Park. That was a lot of grant money, match money for a grant that the city's providing, as well as grant funds from the outdoor recreation grant from the state. So anyway, a big project for Bull Park. Really excited about it. And also in Boyle, we're kicking off right now a mountain biking project. I might be taking a little bit of Justin's thunder there, but these are just projects that I'm really excited about. Wanted to give a quick update on the tornado efforts. So there's been a lot of questions in the public for Rock Creek. We've had a real challenge with homeless moving into Rock Creek. This is the part that's located out by Chenal, behind Home Depot. Since the park's been closed since March 31st, a lot of issues with homeless moving in. We've been addressing that in the last couple of weeks in relocation, cleanup. I'm excited to be able to report that DRC, our contractor, is supposed to be working with Public Works and ourselves to go out there and start doing some major cleanup of the tree debris. So we'll actually start moving forward. The reason for the delay of that was that we've been working with NRCS, it's a federal agency, to help fund the project, and we're looking at it from a more of a sustainability repair of the location because it was so natural. And I can get into more details with that. Reservoir is ongoing. We've had a major cleanup out there of the tree debris. The park is still closed and will be closed for the foreseeable future. Staff is working to get more trees identified and make sure that we get all the safety out of the tree canopy and anything else that we need to remove. Murray is almost fully open, minus a few pavilions down there. It's been a long time for us to open that because of our utility aspects down there, working with energy on getting power back. And then the last thing is our in-house project is Riverfront Park. We were able to get a donation for an addition to our treehouse down there, and our staff are working in-house to build a small, exciting addition to our treehouse down there in Riverfront Park. If you haven't seen our existing treehouse, I always recommend going in and spending some time in Riverfront Park. That's just some big updates, and I'll turn it over to Angela on giving an admin report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Couch. Ms. Nelson?
Okay, dealing with the resources division, we have an ongoing task of addressing administrative policies and updates. Also dealing with HR-related issues. Being a large department as we are, we're always focusing on being consistent in our efforts. Ongoing progress is, of course, onboarding new staff. We have an administrative assistant for our director, which I'm very excited for that person to come aboard, I'm sure as well as Mr. Couch is. We also have 3 maintenance and recreation positions. Newly to advertise, we have an outdoor recreation coordinator, parks marketing and social media coordinator. Other positions are also in our maintenance areas. The task of keeping our department productive, that's a goal that we have, of course, and as well as keeping our inventory current. The goal is to replace all of our outdated models and IT loaners that were provided to some areas. And as you can see the list, those are 7 areas of concern that we're taking care of. We're wrapping up the task of management giving our performance reviews. Of course, that's the 6 months evaluation with the time span of January to June. In the finance area, the department is eagerly staying abreast on processing invoices and also being prompt in dealing with our outstanding POs. We're also having our second park stat meeting, which is Friday, July the 28th. This is when management and staff come together as a group to discuss our progress in areas that may need concern and, of course, the progress. And that is on Friday, the 28th. This will cover the months of, I believe, April through June. Dealing with our accreditation efforts, we are consistently moving along with monitoring our progress, sorting and grouping and finding, and of course, adding relative information, needed documentation for certain sections. And with that, that concludes resources.
Are there any questions for Ms. Nelson? Commissioners, any questions? Okay, Director Couch.
Okay, Shawanda, please give us a report on recreation.
Good afternoon. As Angela mentioned previously, we're hiring for various recreation positions. Also, at the community centers, we're registering for volleyball. So if you know anyone who would like to play volleyball, we're doing registration for that. Also, we have a men's fall 40 and over league registration has started. So if you want to get back out there and start showing off your skills again, please join us and play some basketball in our men's league. At the West Central Community Center, FEMA has vacated the premises, and so currently we're doing some much-needed renovations throughout the facility, painting, and once that's complete, we'll do a thorough cleaning, and then we'll open West Central back up for our regular participants to come back and enjoy their location there. I actually just ran into the senior group out at Southwest Community Center, and they kept asking, well, when can we come home? So I told them very soon. So we'll do a big push out to the community to welcome everybody back to that location. And also baseball is going well there. We had the mayor there Monday night, and the Arkansas Travelers representative and the mascot out passing out cards and things to the kids. So we had a big turnout there. So our softball, baseball program is going very well. We're doing playoffs this week and next week. So if you're not busy, please come out and watch the little kiddos show off their skills that they learn with their coaches. The summer playground program is still going well. We have 208 kids at Dunbar Community Center, 120 at Stevens Community Center. Baseline school, elementary school has 84 children there. J.A. Fair is our teen location. They have about 32 children there. Washington Elementary has 38. East Little Rock Community Center has 40, and the Southwest Laureate program has 100 children. Tennis, we just got courts 5, 6, and 9, and 10 resurfaced, and they look good. So that facility has been busy all summer doing various tournaments. And so what the staff shared was that those two, the biggest tournaments that we just had, created about $2 to $3 million in economic impact to the city of Little Rock. So that's really good. So next is Jim Daly Fitness and Aquatic Center. We're in need of lifeguards. So if you know of anyone who would like to become a lifeguard, please let us know. Sign up through HR and join our team. And we're not just looking for people for just for seasonal. We need lifeguards year round because we do have plans to try to keep our pools open longer and throughout the year. Also at the Jim Daly Fitness Center, they have movies in the pool, and that's going to be this Saturday on the 15th. And the movie, it will be Puts in Boots. So it costs $5 to get in, and the movie will start about 7:30 or right at sunset. Our golf facilities have been doing really well, very busy, but we've had rain throughout the past month, on and off, so they're having some challenges with that, and various storms have come through. So that has hindered play at the golf courses, but they're doing really well as far as revenue at those locations. MacArthur Military Museum, they have a movie night coming up on the 18th, and it's called Medal of Honor, and it's the history. So if you have not gone over to take part in those movies that they have there, please join in, and they do have refreshments at the movies. And I think that concludes my report. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Robinson or Ms. Craig? All right, thank you very much. Couch.
Justin, if you give us an operations report, please.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to just start off by thanking Angela and her team. We're getting some positions working through and getting advertised, and should have some more advertising soon. It's just been a big help getting the construction manager position posted and park planner position posted, and then several of these other maintenance positions posted that should really help us out. So really appreciate that work. Maintenance division's been really busy. This has just been a difficult summer for us between, mowing and other additional things, but just with garbage and other issues we've seen in parks, we've discussed that at other meetings with the amount of litter and things. We're having to run the truck more days a week than we've ever had to run it. And in addition with the other things, but the guys are keeping a good attitude as best they can and really doing real well. So I'm very proud of them for keeping that up. Urban Forestry, their main goal for the next couple of weeks, you may see them, is going to be around War Memorial. They've been there. They've finished up kind of at Murray and are at a spot where they're stopping with that. So you'll see the forestry guys at War Memorial. As you'll know, we've got a Razorback game coming up on September 2nd. So we've got several crews working around the gateway, working that area, getting prepared for that. They've got several weeks, and that tends to, don't want that to sneak up on us. So That'll be a huge focus for them. As Leland had mentioned, several of the guys took part in the homeless cleanup. That kind of, and among the other duties at Rock Creek, that kind of was something that was a large undertaking, but worked really well with LRPD and housing and several other entities that were involved in that. So that was a good job on that. If you haven't been up Main Street, would encourage you to go up Main Street. We've got a project going on that's just getting kicked off with Robert Hen, our Main Street coordinator. He's working with some sustainability and beautification projects there on some planters, and just looking to see that grow. But the area is looking really nice. We've got several new planters that are being painted and replanted, and the plant selection with natives and more sustainable stuff. I think it's going to look really good. And he's reaching out to businesses to make contacts and to bridge those. So I'm really excited to have him in that role and kind of taking out. So if you walk and you see things, I'd encourage you to reach out to him with any questions on that. So excited about that. Let's see. We've got starting to have some designs come in for Kiwanis and for Pankey Park. Those projects were approved, and so we're starting to get some designs to come in preparation for maybe getting some pop-up meetings scheduled soon with the neighborhood. We'll be working with the commission and invite everyone out to some pop-up neighborhood meetings when we get some more detailed plans to get those projects moving forward. And then in Riverfront, Leland mentioned the Treehouse Boardwalk. That's a very large project, large undertaking. It's going to take several of the guys quite a bit of time to do the welding and all the work that's involved in getting those frames welded up. But the overall project's very, very impressive, and I'm very, very excited to see the end result of that. I think that's going to be a really nice addition to that area. And then also the picnic table addition there by the pavilion. They were supposed to get the picnic table installed, so that's just kind of the icing on the cake of finally you can go sit and picnic. So you should be able to walk down there if you want to have a lunch this week. You'll be able to do that this week. So, and then lastly, the final thing with Murray, we were able to finalize some documents with FEMA, and we're just really, really excited that we've got the bids, the quotes, the POs all pushed through, and several of the smaller projects are going to happen. Should start either this week or next week with like the fence repairs, the repairs to North Maintenance Shop, and a lot of those type things. Contractors should be on site kind of buttoning down some of those last final things, and to where really our last piece that we're still kind of going back and forth on. We've got quotes, but it's the pavilion roof, the reshingling on that. We're still in the process of trying to get that just kind of pushed out that last step of the door, but everything else is looking really well, and I should be able to wrap that up. So anyways, that kind of concludes the highlights of my report. If anybody has any questions or concerns, be happy to address.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Dorsey?
Hey, Justin.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. On the Kiwanis and Pankey Park, how does that work? Do you have like a set amount of money per park, and then you go and talk to some of the neighbors and figure out what they want to see? I'm just curious how that process works.
Yes, sir. There was a budget approved for that, and I believe most of that was done, or there was at least a little bit of that done. I think on the front end, when some of that was solicited for the bond, there were ideas and suggestions that were submitted from the neighborhood on things that they would like to see, and so some of that was kind of done on the front end that we had with that list. So we're kind of putting together some preliminary things working within that budget but taking citizen comments and then what we think are needed for safety issues and other things like that to put together some plans and some proposals then that we'd like to meet back out with the community and kind of go through some of those and hear some final input and just make sure that we've got good citizen buy-in before we move the final push.
And then after that final input, is that when the City of Little Rock board approves it, I guess?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all. I'm just curious. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Commissioner France. Commissioner Bernardo?
Yeah, I'll ask my monthly question on the status of the Canis Park Bridge and what the timing of the next steps are.
Okay. Good. We actually have I have a meeting following up after this with actually the owner of the company. The bridge section of the project, last I was told, should be finished and will be drivable by the end of the month. We'll have asphalt and all that I've been told that multiple times. Preston, the superintendent that's on site, is still saying that he doesn't see any reason, why they can't be to that point. There's still some issues as far as what we're dealing with the completion of the whole project as a whole. And I'm going this afternoon to try to address some of those and get some clearer answers on that. But we're still hoping and pushing to be able to have that by the end of the month, where the bridge is drivable and we can get away from the tent parking and have access to the park.
Okay. And then I have a question that probably more director oriented, but I'm sure it's not our responsibility to manage the graffiti on like the 630 overpass, but it affects the image of the park. So is there like conversations Parks has with whoever's responsible for doing that? I assume it's the highway department.
Yeah, I agree. It's highly important to get rid of any graffiti, and we try to do it on our property as quickly as possible. The highway is a little bit different. We can't just go and paint it. We have been, our goal is to contact RDOT. I don't know if we've actually successfully reached them yet. We've talked about doing it when we saw it at another site meeting a while back. But we'll move that up our list to make sure that we get contact with RDOT and see if we can't either help them paint it or get them to come out and paint it. Preferably, it would be their structure, they come out and paint it. But we've also discussed some other ideas, now that I'm thinking more about it, of actually maybe doing some kind of a vegetation in front of it to minimize the desire to paint that, because it's just a continual area. I would actually recommend too to utilize 311 to identify it. And then that goes for any park that we have and any location that you see it in the city, is identify it for us to be able to put it into our system to where we can address it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. Dorsey?
I have one follow-up. I think Director Lewis had a question about timing of the Kiwanis and Pankey projects. So we are in the process right now of design, getting some proposals. Our goal is, like Justin said, is to go out to the public and represent those and show them and get some public input. I was just talking to Sky Browner, who's a person of contact in Pankey, and he's putting me in touch with the president of the neighborhood association. He's discussed with me a couple different events. There's August, it's either 5th or 15th at the community center. There's a back to school event there in Pankey. We've talked about maybe doing it's the 5th, doing a table there. I actually really prefer to do a pop-up in the park so people can actually see what we're discussing. So we might do both. He said he'd get back to me as well on if he has any hearings from the neighborhood in terms of what desires might be. But
Just thinking in regards to Kiwanis.
yeah.
So just to start getting the word out to them.
Yes. So, I mean, we need to start that process right now. In fact, I think Justin, we last spoke about it. He was going to reach out to you in terms of if you had a particular date or time frame. But our goal in-house was to get Boyle, off the kind of the list, and then Kiwanis and Pankey are the next two big ones. And so it's just any day now. And so we just need to finalize. I think Justin's ready to have a meeting. We're just trying to figure out when the best time to do that is. We do want to give enough time to where we can put out something on social media and tell the neighborhood and all that to come out and put get their public input. I mean, they've already done that. That's why these projects, just to reiterate, that's why these projects made it to the top of the list, was how much public input they gave us when we were doing our bond meetings. So, anyway.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you, Director Couch. Thank you, staff, for all the reports. Appreciate all your time and efforts. Very quickly, folks, I should have done this at the very beginning of the meeting. I would like to recognize Commissioner Barra. This is his first meeting with us here today. Commissioner Barr, thank you for joining the commission and your interest in parks. We're going to look forward to having you here. Would you like to take 30 seconds or so and tell us a quick word about yourself and maybe why you wanted to get involved on the Parks Commission?
I want to be involved with the city. Parks are really important. I've been involved with the city for a long time on homeless issues. And I see that's been an issue in the parks, and I'd like to work with that. And going to try and orient myself, but to the issues that we go into.
Very good. Well, again, it's great to have you here. Looking forward to serving with you. For those of you who haven't introduced yourselves to Mr. or Commissioner Barra, please do so after the meeting. And perhaps maybe Ben and JT, you guys will be able to meet up with Ron a little bit later on. So thank you for being here. Let's see, Director Couch, looking at our agenda here, upcoming events. Any words there?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So just a couple events I'd like to represent. A few of these first two are just private events that we have on our calendar. But if you see something in the park and you are curious, so that everybody was aware, at War Memorial on the North Lawn this Saturday, there's a lifestyle medicine Central Arkansas walk. We have tons of different walks in the park. I don't always talk about them, but I think it's appropriate that, people are aware that there's different events going on at War Memorial. Also at Murray, there's a bass fishing tournament. These are all things that are scheduled that we have little to do with. So if it doesn't go on, it's because it's a private event. But just wanted y'all to know that if y'all saw something, that you are aware of it. There's also a cleanup in Fush Creek, July 22nd. This is by Friends of Fush Creek. Appreciate their effort and help in our public waterways on the cleanup. And we have an event being park staff, Pushy Plants in Bull Park. This is to help our issues with invasive plants in our parks. Come out to Bull Park at this weekend on Saturday, July 15th at 9 a.m. to hear more. Also, there's another event tomorrow night in War Memorial where the NICA local chapter from Catholic High will be doing their opening bike season opener at War Memorial Park. They'll be utilizing our pro shop there and the grounds of the park for an opening of their season. So excited about that as well. So those are a few. You've heard about many other events from our recreation operations staff, but those are a few that we have on our calendar and wanted to express to y'all.
Thank you very much, Director Couch. There's definitely some good events there. So commissioners, if you do have any opportunity to attend to those, I'd certainly recommend or suggest that you can, if you would. The next item up, Director Couch, is park security, the crime analysis. Was there any further word on that one?
Yeah, so I know nobody here sees Perry, and I appreciate the report he gave last month. He asked if he could have a reprieve and give his final report next month. He's found some more information and wants to make sure that he does a good job on his final report. So he'll be here next month, and he'll be on the agenda too.
Very good. I know everyone took a real keen interest in hearing from Mr. Perry on that, so looking forward to hearing about that next month. Next item on the agenda is scorecard analysis of park assets. Director Couch.
Yeah, so I appreciate everybody that participated. There's a lot of information here, and some of y'all put more comments than anything else, and I appreciate that. I know I was very open-ended on what my request was. I just kind of wanted to go through some highlights, and then just reiterate that anybody that they have any requests or concerns about anything in the parks, obviously that we can address that more offline. But I just want to give a highlight of what I think everybody can understand what was the interest from the park commission. And then my goal is to take those highlight items and drill down and focus on a handful of them and say that's what our focus is as a parks department in terms of our social media and all of our information, and just providing more information that I realize sometimes certain things that we do get lost in the information because there's so much that we do. So I'll just say on recreation, some of the big things that were pointed out by more than just Mike was pickleball. So pickleball was a few different commissioners discussed it. So I put that on my number one list under recreation. Playgrounds was mentioned a couple of times, and then youth sports was also mentioned a couple of times. Under programs, summer playground program. I wanted to add outdoor recreation program. That's something new, so I don't think anybody would have had that to be added. I don't know if Shawanda covered this, but we do have a new position that is, went out Monday, which is the Outdoor Recreation Program Coordinator. Really excited about that, which is going to be useful for us to get recreation out in our parks and utilizing our facilities. So if anybody knows of anybody that could be interested in that, go to our website and go to HR and sign up for an interview. Also under programs, tennis. Tennis was highlighted under recreation and programs, but that was another asset too. So, and then facilities, again, pickleball was at the top. Murray Park, River Trail, access or areas along the river, golf came across in facilities, and our community centers. And then in miscellaneous was security, again, facilities for use, sport facilities, and then a little bit about maintenance and questions about maintenance and development. And I think we kind of cover some of that, but those are actually some of our things on social media that get the most impressions or likes or all that information is when we talk about and show stuff that we're improving and making new. So anyway, I boiled that down to recreation was golf, pickleball, tennis, and youth sports. Is what we will start to really focus on. And this is not finalized. This is still open for discussion. I'd love to have more input. And under parks, it's the River Trail, Murray, the river area, community centers, and then playgrounds. So to me, playgrounds really helps us advertise more on our neighborhood parks and our assets in those and our playgrounds. And then miscellaneous is security, maintenance, and development. So all of these are great things. There's other things that we haven't even discussed, and maybe that's the next thing that I could bring to the table is some of what I think some other highlights are, such as Riverfront Park. That falls under the riverfront, the river area, but you know, our sculpture garden down there is our sculptures in the parks, over $8 million of sculptures. One of those would be another big highlight that I have. But I'm going to start working with staff to drill down on this information and use this to put more information out. I can't remember the last time we put something out about, let's say, Reisman Golf Course. Reisman Golf Course has become a question of concern in some of our maintenance. And so it's been highlighted again in my mind. And then doing this, realize that golf is a concern of y'all's as well. And so it gives me an opportunity to say, realistically, we should be putting more information out there about what we're doing at golf. Reisman Golf Course is knocking it out of the park in terms of users in terms of how many attending, using it, but it's taken a real beating because of that as well. And so we really need to support that course as well as our first tee, and we have a lot of things to discuss there. So that's just what has been helpful for me for the scorecard. I appreciate everybody's input and look forward to any other discussion and maybe some different ideas that the commission might have in terms of how it might be helpful or what we could do differently. So.
Thank you very much, Director Couch. Any commissioners, any questions for Director Couch on the scorecard? All right, then thank you very much again, Director Couch. Let's move on. The next item is the golf tournament. I believe that falls under the purview of Commissioner Eldridge, who is not here today unless, and I know he's taken a bite, unless Director Couch had anything or heard anything else that needed to be shared. We'll wait to hear some more information from Commissioner Eldridge, who is not able to attend today. All right, let's move on to subcommittee reports. So Commissioner France, any update on social media and outreach?
I'm excited, excuse me, I'm excited to hear from Angela that you guys are looking to hire a marketing and social media person that can, I think there's a lot of opportunity in that, and we'd love to meet him or her whenever they're hired. I can help with interview process. But Angela, do you have any candidates so far? Love to learn more about that process.
Good. Is that something that you have an answer for right now? No, maybe follow up with Commissioner France after the fact. Okay.
No worries.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner France. Appreciate that. Let's turn to Commissioner Smith for an update on the master plan subcommittee.
Yes, the master plan subcommittee has not met, but I have a question, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit. I didn't know if there was a limit on the number of people for subcommittees. Right now, master plan has 4, myself, Sam, Ben, and Cannon. We have a newer commissioner that is interested in joining that I would propose today if we do not have a limit. Right now, we have 4.
It's my understanding, and I'm sure Counselor Carpenter will keep me honest here, but it's my understanding that there's not a limit on the number of people that can participate in a subcommittee. Is that correct?
That is correct. The bylaws do not show any limit.
Okay, perfect.
Committee members.
And I would recommend and to the commission that we add new Commissioner Mike Bernardo to the master plan. He's expressed interest in joining, and I think he would be a worthy addition.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that information. Is there a motion then? Well, let's make it formal, a motion to add Commissioner Bernardo to the master plan subcommittee.
Make that motion.
So moved by Commissioner Smith. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Barr. Any discussion? All those in favor of adding Commissioner Bernardo to the master plan subcommittee, please say aye. Any opposed? Commissioner Bernardo is added to the master plan subcommittee. Thank you.
We had tried to have a meeting and had a number of calendar conflicts, but we will have one before the next meeting. I know that's of interest as we hear more about the possibility of a sales tax that master plan needs to get up to date.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
One comment.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Director Couch.
Commissioner Smith, if you just clarify, your committee has met before, it just hasn't met recently on, yeah. Okay.
Did meet in January, and we have had, but we would like to meet again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thank you for the clarification. Commissioner Eldridge is our Parks Conservancy liaison, but in her stead, I'll just quickly mention that the Parks Conservancy has begun a public campaign, and you may have seen some of the information about there on the social media. So if you do see that, please share that information. It's very helpful to create awareness for the Parks Conservancy. It is going to be an ongoing effort. And one final quick note about the Conservancy is that we're in the midst right now of planning the very first gathering for our friends who have signed up to become friends of Parks Conservancy. Look for more information about that in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be having a first gathering of those individuals, and I think the commissioners, you'll of course be invited, and quite a few others, our directors will be invited as well to that. So look for more information on that very soon. Moving on to new business. So let's see, Director Couch, new business here. We've got Fish Creek Park under new business.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring up the subject of Fish Creek Park to the commissioners. Previously, this is the same type of subject matter as when we discussed Rose Creek Park. The group here voted for approving Rose Creek as a official name and designation as a public park. As you may or may not know, Rose Creek at the time was already maintained by our park staff and have been working with the neighborhood there for a long time. So that's kind of that history, and for the new commissioners to understand what I'm about to ask. And so Fish Creek Park, to my knowledge, has not been officially recognized as a city park. Now, I could be wrong. There might be some previous history that somebody could bring to light, but my understanding, it has not been. We do have an official water trail we worked with Game and Fish on. I'm mentioning even today, there's cleanups in the parks by different groups and friends of Fish Creek. And then we've been maintaining the park area for a long time. Fish Creek is a huge waterway system, drainage for majority of the city. It's roughly 1,800 acres. We have several different locations of access and would like to work more on that. So I bring today the question if the commissioners would support recognizing Fish Creek as a actual city park. Obviously, this is, just to be clear, this is the first step of this. If y'all were to approve that question and request, then I would have to take it to the city board for approval. But I'm trying to see if there could be a discussion about that and hopefully maybe an approval of that today.
Let's open up commissioners for a little bit of dialogue. Any commissioners have any questions about the matter put forth for city directors?
I'll let questions go first. I just wanted to make some comments.
Commissioners, any questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
I have one.
Mr. Smith?
What are the boundaries, the proposed boundaries of Fish Creek? 'Cause
So,
it's a very large one.
yeah, that's a great question. So the proposed that I would have here, Fush is actually, some of the other locations are not zone PR. Fush, the majority of it is actually zone PR already. And so I would be today saying the area that is actually zone PR. There are several other parcels. I mean, I don't know how many parcels in the area that you could say, oh, that's part of Fush Creek, right? I don't have that designation today. I could, if desired, bring a map and indicate that. But as for today, it would be the request for the area that is actually zone PR.
And you're currently maintaining all of that area?
That's a very heavy question. So we have a hard time maintaining Fush, right? Fush is a natural swamp bottomland area that floods all the time. It is actually tons of trash that are put through our drainage ways and end up in Fush. We do cleanups and events to manage all that, but historically there is so much trash in the bottomlands that there's no way, I don't think we could ever actually collect it all. We recently worked with different groups to buy some new booms to help collect the trash in Benny Craig. We have staff that go and clean out log jams so that the flow will stay. So we have water, people can canoe. There's actually an event August 7th of another group that we're partnering with to go and do a flow. I believe Rex Nelson's going to be a part of that to come do a story on the flow. So there's a lot. I mean, Interstate hits it, Heineman hits it, Terry Park hits it, Benny Craig is a part of it, Southside's part of it, Interstate's part of it. I mean, there's a lot of different boundaries actually abut to it as well. And then there's proposed trail systems. The Southwest Trail is going to go through it or around it in different aspects. So there's a lot going on in that area. I don't know if that directly answers your question, but.
And maybe just as a follow-up, so besides boat launch and the floatables, which
Right.
I'm very familiar with that boom, are there pavilions, playground, anything else that we're talking about as far as structural components?
Right, sorry. So currently, no. In Fush, what I would clarify is Fush Creek Park. There are no physical structures. Everything like the boat ramp at Interstate, I would say is the boat ramp at Interstate. The boat ramp at Benny Craig is the boat ramp at Benny Craig, if that clarifies. There has been some loose discussion about, wow, maybe one day we could actually make Fush more and do an actual entry to Fush, to the park and say, this is Fush, it's a standalone area. But that's really futuristic planning. And this is maybe the very first tip of that, of moving forward with that. And that would become even more highlighted when we look at the Southwest Trail. And if the Southwest Trail comes and hits Fush, the area where I believe it would is roughly planned, there might be an opportunity to clarify what Fush Park is and an entrance and all that. That's totally hasn't been discussed by anybody in reality. It's just a big vision plan. So.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Any further discussion?
So I guess I don't know anything about Fush Creek Park.
Okay.
Just trying to think, like what's Director Couch's criteria when you look at a piece of land? What makes you think, oh, that should be a city park?
Okay, so great question, Mike. Thank you. So this is not so much that question for me. So it's not that I'm designating a new park by any means. That's a whole nother process in my mind.
Someone else here?
Commissioner France, would you please go on mute, please? Thank you.
So there, see what I'm saying? So this is the process that we're already maintaining and doing work and making plans in Fush Creek. And so I believe it's important for us to officially recognize the fact that it is a city park. And we already talk about Fush Creek. We already say it's a park. There's already that, what am I trying to say? Use of the area as a park. I didn't go out and say the difference. The way I took your question would be is if I went out to West Little Rock and say this parcel over here is a great place for a new park. That's a whole different conversation. Does that help clarify? Okay.
Director Peck.
And maybe to help this conversation along a little bit, I actually thought Fush was a city park. I think a lot of people do. And I think a lot of that began when we put the boat ramp in at Benny Craig, so you could actually have kayak access there. I think Fush is such an important area, geographically, because the watershed, because of the Southwest Trail. Gillum Park was there, and the
Right.
pavilion's still there. Audubon is there. There's some very unique geological and botanical things that are going on there. We're working on a conservation easement right now with the state. There's some federal entities that are interested, county entities, and we're going to be having a meeting with Barry Hyde on it. And I think it's just like Rose Creek, a designation that this is a city park. And what that could possibly do is, well, not possibly, what it would do is allow groups like Friends of Bush Creek to apply for grants. There's a lot of money out there, but they're in the process of forming a 501c3. And if you haven't ever been out there, you should come on one of these floats. It's amazing. There was a group a few weeks ago to shoot some footage for the new Indiana Jones film of just the bald cypress trees. And it's just so bizarre. It's like 10 minutes from downtown, but it's right in our backyard. But it's a very rich area. And when we first had this conversation, Leland, I already know parks is stretched so thin. I don't want to burden parks with something else, but people think it's a park, right? So I'm interested in doing it because I think that we could get a lot of traction by officially making that designation to give Fush what it really deserves, which is some special attention.
Thank you, Director Peck.
Thank you, Kevin. That brought a couple other points that I hadn't even covered yet about the nature aspect of it. The cypress trees, it's unbelievable. I've been a duck hunter with friends in other locations, and when I did a float through Fush, there were more ducks down there than ever, and that I've ever seen just in the natural habitat and the natural wildlife that's in the park, minus all the trash that you'll see. But and also the float. Anybody here is welcome to come out on August 7th. I'm a little concerned about the water levels on August 7th. We had it scheduled earlier in June, and the water levels were not there, so we had to postpone. So Fush is, just so you know, a little bit more information too. Fush is so heavily based as our biggest watershed for the drainage of the city that when it rains, it really flows and floods dramatically, which will limit some ability for us to add pavilions and stuff like that, like Commissioner Smith was talking about. But the flow is dramatic, and it is in a different way as it drains the whole city. And so it's a really interesting area, and I recommend taking some time to experience it. So.
All right, commissioners, any final questions? Director Lewis, any final comments, questions? All right, are the commissioners ready for the question? Is there a motion then by this Parks Commission to recognize Fush Creek Park as an official city park, to make the recommendation to the board of directors to accept this as a future city park? Is there a motion for this?
Motion to vote.
Motion, so moved first by Commissioner Ellis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, I think that was Commissioner Firstel. Is there any final discussion? Commissioners, all those, Commissioner.
I think the second was by Ben.
Was it Ben, Commissioner France? Okay, sorry about that correction. The second was Commissioner France, sorry. All right, if there's no further discussion, then all those in favor of the motion in the second, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, the motion carries. The Parks Commission does then recognize or makes the recommendation to send it up to the parks, to the directors for consideration. All right, Let's see, moving on, I think we've already covered the golf tournament and the scorecard analysis. So Director Couch, if I'm skipping over that too quickly, then agenda items for next meeting. Did any of the commissioners or our two directors have any agenda items, special agenda items for next meeting? If not, then we'll dedicate the last 5 minutes and recognizing that Director Peck had to leave a little early, but the last 5 minutes or so to board liaison feedback. So Director Lewis, anything you'd like to share with us this month?
Just nothing in particular, just thankful for the updates we've received so far. Leland and I have been having some offline conversations about Kiwanis and Boyle. And so this is some good information I'll be glad to take back to the public. Just look forward to having those meetings in place.
Okay, very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next meeting of the Little Rock Parks and Recreation Commission will be on Wednesday, August the 9th, here at the Center at University Park at 12 p.m. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Meeting adjourned 12:56 p.m. Thank you.
Let me know.